What is the worst advice you've ever received in your life? My careers advisor in high school. When I said I think I want to do something with computers, she said, "Have you heard of Microsoft?" Then she wrote Microsoft on a piece of paper and slid it across the table, and that was my careers interview over. When I was little, I told my mom I was sad because some kids were bullying me. She said I should tell them that when they bullied me it hurt me inside and they would stop. I did what she said. This was bad advice. They did not stop. When my daughter was an infant, my wife couldn't breastfeed and my daughter couldn't digest formula very well, so I had to buy a special pre-digested formula for like $25 can. I was at the cashier paying for the formula. The guy in front of me was gathering his things. He said to me, he says, "When my kids were babies, I wish I knew what I know now." I was like, "What's that? What do you know?" He says, "Babies don't need formula. All they need is sugar water. All the rest is a scam." I was like, "I'm so glad you didn't know that back then." Stop reading. You read too much. You're going to hurt your eyes. Go watch TV for a while. My grandma, every time she visited, while grabbing the books from my hands, it was like something off The Simpsons. Look at this cool new website. It's called Reddit. Just open another credit card. It's free money coming from my friend who is in thousands of dollars worth of debt and has no idea she will eventually have to pay that off. Edit. Whoa. Now I finally understand about the exploding inbox comments. This was my first ever post on Reddit. Also another gem, this same girl thought she would get a marketing job right out of college. That would pay her $70K a year and she wouldn't take anything less because she would be selling herself short. Your high school years will be the best ones of your life, so you better enjoy them while you can. If high school was the greatest time of my life, then I would have been better off killing myself then and there. When I found out I was pregnant with my youngest son, my mom and her boyfriend told me to abort. Not because I couldn't afford the baby or that there was something wrong with him, but because my mom was going through menopause and didn't want to be reminded that she couldn't have any more kids. Edit. Wow, I work nights. Posted this when I got home from work and just woke up. Holy crap. Thanks for the gold, kind people. And to answer some questions, no, I was not pregnant with my son's baby, I was pregnant with my son, who was the baby. Yes, this did happen. No, my mom is no longer with the boyfriend because he ran out of money. Yes, I still am in contact with her because she has had some sort of mental breakdown and is living in my house. Yes, I hate her, but my brother noped the F out when my mom threatened to punch his wife because she wanted my mom to vacuum her room because she had bugs. So instead of her being homeless, we let her live with us. I wish I had noped out too, but 40 years of abuse can with a person. Yes, I had my son, he's 10. I was 30 when I had him. My husband and I are still together. In my final semester of college, my insanely jealous, distraught mother called me to make one last plea to get me to drop out. She went on to say, "What would you do if you had to watch helplessly as your own daughter threw her life away and became a nurse?" By the way, she married an elementary school dropout and was a bitter retail worker. She couldn't handle watching me be the first in the family to graduate from college and make something of myself, and she dealt with it by constantly shaming me. If I scored 99% on something, she complained about the last 1%. If I got 100%, she said I was stupid because I didn't earn bonus marks. We don't talk anymore, and I'm a successful nurse. Edit. Thanks for all the kind comments. This got more attention than I would have thought, because this is really mild in comparison to some of the things my mother has said and done to me. As is tradition, I received the typical "well, I hope you still love her, and talk to her. Be the better person" response that survivors of childhood abuse often receive. If your abuser won't stop, there is nothing wrong with leaving and never looking back. Yes, even if it's your mother. This is me being the better person and respecting myself and my children enough not to subject us to abuse. I called Kids Help Phone when I was a teen to ask for advice on how to help my depressed friend. They advised I find new friends. I wish I was making this up. Edit. To clarify, the conversation was very short. I explained my friend has been struggling, depressed with no motivation, and isolating herself from others. Along those lines, it was a while back, and what can I do? The only piece of advice they gave me was to let her sort it out on her own and find new friends. That's it. Nothing to interpret or misinterpret, I don't think. We remained friends though, and she is alright now. When I was about 5 to 6 years old, I was given a Superman cape for my birthday. I was told that it could make me fly. After a few days of not being able to fly, I began asking people how to make it work. They advised that I needed to find somewhere high up to jump off of, so I started jumping off fences, trees. Then I was told I needed to jump something taller. You know, son, there really is no such thing as cheating if you aren't married. The Bible doesn't recognize any relationship that isn't bound in the covenant of the Lord. So until you are married, relationships don't really exist. Thanks Dad, you just indirectly explained why you're on your third marriage. This wasn't me personally, but my mom told me that we had a neighbor that used to constantly tell my dad that life insurance was a waste of money and tried to convince him to stop paying for it. Fortunately my dad was intelligent because he died 5 years later, and my family would have been completely destroyed without it. Your family is the only thing that will ever be there for you, not your friends, your family. And I just got excommunicated from my narcissistic abusive family 2 days before Thanksgiving. My high school guidance counselor said that I wasn't college material, and I took her advice and started the process of joining the Marines with my friends, who were also told this. My chemistry teacher at the time scheduled a substitute, personally drove me to a nearby college, and sat there with me while I spoke with admissions. Fast forward a few years. After receiving a chemistry and chemical engineering dual degree and then going on to get a PhD in chemical engineering, I'd say that guidance counselor knew jack. TLDR, my guidance counselor said I wasn't college material and was proven to be full of. Don't go through chemotherapy, eat this nut and berry mix instead. My younger sister, when she visited me in the hospital, when I went for febrile neutropenia, no white blood cells, had fever. She also showed up claiming to have bronchitis and didn't wear a mask and full on hugged me. Yeah, she's a piece of work. Even knowing what I do now about what it would do to my reproductive health. TLDR, permanent menopause at 26, I'd still go with chemotherapy 1100%. I was going to die without it, with a 100% guarantee. I would be dead by the time I turned 27. My life is more important than my ability to have children the old-fashioned way. Added to clarify, I was diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, co-classified with bulky disease, and was receiving chemotherapy for it. The febrile neutropenia was a side effect of the treatment. Do what you love, and the money will come. Engineer, salaried, married with a kid. Also have a master's degree and several years of experience. VP of the company advised me to work at McDonald's after work if I wanted to make more money. He even took his calculator out and told me how many hours I should work. Edit. The guy was fired about a year after that for bullying employees. I tried to leave, but ended up staying and turned down other jobs. Not a bad place to be for now. I spoke about it to a couple of senior executive I trusted at the time. Edit 2. Legally married to an adult female. The kid is the result of said marriage. Just for the records. Stop thinking about depression. There are more people who have greater problems than yours. Non-verba. Mentioned in passing that my boyfriend suffered from a terrible Charlie horse in the middle of the night. My bizarre space cadet of a co-worker heard this and immediately interjected, frantically explaining that I needed to get him to a hospital because this was a surefire symptom of pregnancy. She also recommended that I call the news because my boyfriend is, well, a man. I guess she thought history was about to go down. Spoiler alert, he wasn't pregnant. My psychiatrist told me I could stop taking the SNRI antidepressants I was on more or less cold turkey. It was technically safe, but holy, it was a tough couple of weeks, partly because of unpleasant physical sensations and partly because it was the closest to actual crazy I'd ever felt. Don't quit your job at Walmart. You've been here for 3 years. Just 7 more, and you'll be fully vested in the company. Edit. One thing I just remembered about that job. We had a manager who, since the time I started working there, couldn't speak above a whisper, no matter how hard she tried. It had been like this for years. 2 years after I was hired, she finally found a doctor who figured out the problem. Apparently, if you're stressed out every single day for years on end, it can cause a psychogenic voice disorder. He ordered her to take 3 months off work. When she came back, she could speak normally. A friend of mine would always get me to talk about my relationships, and would somehow twist the smallest things into seeming like they were really bad, and then suggest that I should break up with them, and I would be like, you're right, why am I putting up with this? When it could have been something completely normal. Happened with 3 girls in a row, and it was always the same stuff he said, and I just snapped out of it one day, and realized that I had been the BF, and the reason it didn't work was because of how I was acting after hearing all these things put into my head. Think he was just jealous, because he could never get any girls, but what a weird thing to look back on. Edit. It's quite funny how many comments here are suggesting he was into me, because we actually shared a bed for a few months years ago as he got kicked out of his apartment and had nowhere else to go, and I was still living with my parents, so the sofa was a no-go. I feel unclean. Renting is just throwing money away. Sure, if you know for a fact that you'll be living in the same town for the next 10 plus years and have a steady income. Otherwise, stop rent shaming. Renting is a great option for people who are just starting out, move every few years, or are unsure where they want to end up. Repairs are the responsibility of the landlord, and you can save a lot of money, especially with a housemate or two. When I was in high school, I had a friend who was not the smartest. I remember him telling me, if I didn't want to get a woman pregnant, then she should be on top so the sperm can't flow up. He became a father his sophomore year. Given to me by a high school headmaster. You want to repeat your senior year with your lousy marks? That's crazy. You could be out getting a laboring job, making $17,000 per year. Yeah, base my life decisions on money. Ended up going on to uni, graduating with honors, and then finishing a PhD. Just listen to your academic advisor. They know what they're doing. Thousands of dollars added cost to education, an extra senior year, and a withdrawal on record. Seriously, don't be afraid to push back on your advisors if you're concerned about what they say or do. Don't be afraid to seek help at mental health. It won't adversely affect your Air Force career. I've been turned down for 2 amazing job opportunities because of my visits to mental health. Edit. To clarify, I'm already in the Air Force. I saw mental health for depression and anxiety related issues, and was later rejected for new jobs within the AF because of those visits, despite assurances to and endorsements by several providers stating that my issues had been resolved. Edit 2. Obligatory this blow up comment. Sorry I hardly replied to anyone. It's been a long and busy day for me. I do want to say I appreciate the outpouring of support from all of you, even if I'm not really worth your time. The last couple years of my life and career have been immensely frustrating, and it's put me in a dark place that I haven't really been able to escape since. I'm not planning to do anything stupid, don't get me wrong, but it's hard to see the proverbial light lately. I'm not giving up. I think I'm too stubborn to do that, but I have come to realize that I'm probably gonna be here for a while, so I might as well make myself comfortable.